before.
I hate
Like
doing that.
I've taught whole days at school where it's like this part's
Well,
like hanging, and I'm just
so
like,
the 9 tribes meet quarterly. So we had a quarterly meeting today that I had to report out on our entire program. And so I'm sitting there just self-conscious because of my facial hair.
Oh, they probably kicked you out. They're like,
Oh,
listen, we're down to
yeah.
8 tribes, brother. You're
Especially
gone.
because I'm talking like this, right? They're like, who the fuck's this guy?
They probably thought you're smoking that ganja.
Oh, no, 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 no. We're prevention. We're fighting that shit. Bam, 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 bam.
The new dare.
All the weed money goes to us.
Is
That's
dare
the
still
thing.
a thing?
No, they found out dare doesn't work.
What?
Mm.
Yeah, it's not proven effective prevention work at all, and in fact, it had the adverse effects from what they were trying to gain from it. So it actually
What
led
kids
to
are like,
more
hey, I want to
drug
try
use
that
than
drug now.
prevention.
Give it to me.
It caused more drug use than
It
prevention.
caused more drug use than prevention. Yeah, so dare was a failed modality that was implemented for way too long. So
What's
this
up,
is the
Jerry?
dangers, huh?
What's up, Jerry Ann?
My dare
Yeah.
lady from like 7th grade, she was a police officer. She ended up being the social worker at my school, like that I taught at. I was like, Trooper Hamby? She's like, it's now social worker Hamby. I was like, all right, I ain't gonna mess with you, girl.
So we can get started. What is up, jammers in the rough? We are live here Tuesday 6ish at
What did you just say?
6ish. We have, as always, Cody, the absolute worst, fucking trimming his nose hairs right now.
Not
on
my nose hair,
camera.
bro. It's you. We just talked about this. It's the worst when it touches your
Yeah, we
lips.
talked about it like before we went live, and now we're like doing an introduction. Cody's like, "Hey guys, let me just fucking mow my stash." And of course, we have Josh Fablioso Winters and Mr. Lost His Voice over the weekend, Paige Hurtado coming at you. What is up?
You would
That's
think
what
if you lost your voice, you wouldn't talk as much, but it won't happen.
Yeah, but I
see.
didn't think if I missed this jammers, you guys would forgive me. If I was like, "Oh, hey guys, I lost my voice," you'd be like, "Oh, look at this fucker. Probably forgot today's Tuesday."
You
So I
mean
was
like you do to all of us all the time? If one of us misses,
It's true.
you grill us.
Ooh, I like that nickname. So why don't we
What's that?
change from Cody the Worst to Cody the Groomer?
Cody the Groomer.
I mean,
I
that's
like
not
it.
bad. I feel like that's like old European. Like,
I
oh,
think
Cody the,
I
of
think
the grooming.
grooming of like when like old people groom young girls. That's what I think about. That's Cody. He has the
Who-
mustache. He's
Who
grooming
thinks
out
of this?
people that
He
work
does.
sexual assault, domestic violence for 4
Yeah.
years.
Hey, he said the word grooming. Pedophile. Get him. Lock him up.
Yeah, we got Cody the groomer teacher
All right, that does sound bad.
coming for your kids since 1988.
It does
I
not
did
sound good as a teacher.
I
It
did
does
dress
not.
up as cousin Eddie today for dress up day.
Who the hell's cousin Eddie?
Cousin Eddie
Christmas
from Adam's Family?
Vacation? No.
Huh? You got
No,
two
dude.
two different ones. I'm not crazy. Quit acting like you fucking know, Josh. I
Christmas
have the balls to
Vacation.
come
Come
out and
on,
say it.
bro. Nobody. You don't
Uncle
know.
Faster.
No, yeah, that's Uncle Fester. You don't know who cousin Eddie or my gosh.
Know who it is. We're up.
I had the bathrobe and the hat and the
We're already
turd
off
tube.
subject, guys. We're supposed to be here talking disc golf, and you're all over the place.
What is the subject? Nobody
Huh?
knows.
You're
We are off to a great start. Comment.
See?
you. Yeah. It's your grooming. That's what we started with. Is your
It's
grooming
fucking
technique.
Cody on his fucking mustache. Guys, if you're tuning in, skip the first 5 minutes of this podcast.
As Paige hits puberty, skip the 5 first.
Skip the
minutes.
5.
Oh, it's
Well-
gonna be great. Listen to you talk all night.
This is what I got this weekend. What up?
What's that? Oh, a champion for
Wow,
what?
you 3D
Is that the
printed something.
Dubs?
Good for you.
Is that
It
for the
was
Dubs?
It was dubs. It was a 3-disc challenge, so you only can bring 3 discs. Which brings me to the
Oh.
first question tonight. You get a 3-disc challenge. Course is kind of wooded with a little bit of power shots. What 3
Uh-huh.
discs are you bringing?
What's the
Well,
longest hole?
Longest hole is, par 4. It's like 560 wooded technical.
Okay. Well, first
the-
I'd follow in Paige's footsteps, and I would bring a 1,000 rated player with me as my partner.
To carry you the whole time.
You know.
The best
I'll-
disc is the best disc
Yeah.
golfer you can find.
Also, if you're listening, shout out Dallas, 1,000 rated round. That's awesome. Or 1,000 rated player. Sweet, sweet. I think I would bring A glow votum. Uh, a Pathfinder, and
Don't bring your putter because you don't putt, so you should bring a different disc.
I know I was gonna throw up to the pin. Shut the fuck up.
Your tactic.
And then probably an Animus.
I would say tactic over that because you can putt with your tactic because you have putted with your tactic, and then you have
That's true.
upshots because you're gonna be
That's true.
scrambling through the woods.
Okay. Tactic, hard tactic, old school hard tactic.
Ew, gosh, that's terrible.
Yeah, hold a hard tactic. I'll pull out the Pathfinder and then a glow votum. Yeah,
Okay.
that'll do it.
Cody, what are your 3 discs?
I would probably go River, Glow Reactor, Softberg. The only thing is, so is there wind? Because if we're playing woods, I'm
there
thinking,
was
like,
wind. There was heavy wind this weekend.
Okay, then I would probably go. If there's wind, it would probably be Glow Votum or Glow T-Bird 3. That's what I would switch up for the River.
I do like that TSA is making a splash on all of our lists because I went P2s. I went Nebula Aura Construct, which
That's the one.
That's
a good one.
I think the Construct is becoming one of the best molds, even outside of TSA fans. The fact that you have, FD3, you have a Thunderbird, and you have a CD2 all in the same mold with different plastics is absolutely huge. If you open up to other plastics too, because Aura, you have like a Roadrunner Sidewinder style disc. The Construct, to me, like, I understand it might be inconsistent, but they're inconsistent within the plastics. So all of the Nebula Aura are beefy. And then the other one I brought was actually a Realm. I tried the Voss round 1, but the wind picked up. So then the Voss was just a terrible choice. So I switched out to the Realm, which I've been really loving.
How did you like the Voss?
I've been trying it out because I want to like it. It's controllable. But it's really flippy. And so I had a couple calm days when I was throwing it. So I was really liking it on calm days where you can just at 70% power, highs or flip, drift, stretch it out. But the moment any wind or any power / torque touched it, it was too unreliable of a disc. So it's probably not going to make the bag, and it's probably getting shipped to Cody. But with that, I think it's a good disc, especially if you have a little bit slower arm speed. The first runs are more overstable than the colored runs.
What's he laughing about now?
Dale, I thought I smelled Americans Live on YouTube.
Smelt.
I smell Americans Live on YouTube.
Hey, now I forgot. I have been trying out a disc lately that I would replace. You ever thrown a pipeline page? You like this one? It's green and purple. This thing is, dude. This thing is
pipeline. They're flippy. They're too flippy.
No. So here's the thing. It's like a.
How you gonna tell me no? Like I haven't thrown it. No, they're not too flippy, Page.
I didn't. I'm just saying. It's like a Thunderbird that's beat in a little bit. So that's what I'm saying. If we're playing woods golf, it's like I'm just saying. I've liked it a lot. I've gotten some pretty good distance out of it.
It's like a river.
It's not a river.
Yeah, it is. No, it's a little bit more stable. It's like a bear.
Smelled, tomato.
Yes, right? Smelt. Are we making metal, melting it
down,
or smelting? Smelted.
But there's a good question here. Let's see.
Can we
1v1? If you had to putt with a driver,
Construct.
What driver?
At this point, Construct is just going to be everything.
No, I mean, okay. So I'm going to include fairway drivers into this because that's a driver. I would do a D-line FD all day long. Has to be.
I would do
probably a river.
Lightning McQueen.
Lightning McQueen? What?
He's a driver. He's using a play on words. Dad joke, but give it to him.
Give it to him.
I know what he's doing.
This is why you below me, Cody. You get me. You prop me up.
Oh, I'm below you. You gotta be very careful how you enunciate that word. This is how you blow me. Whoa. It's a kid show, man.
What about you, Cody? Construct's obviously mine for driver.
I said river. or
to
stag.
putt with.
Yeah, because they're slower speed. They go straight. So comfortable rim.
See, I wouldn't even I wouldn't putt per se with it. I would just like scuba it in with the D-line FD,
Josh is just forehanded, just
just full speed,
yeah,
10 feet
full
away.
send. I'm here for it.
So
I could be 3 feet away and still miss it.
let's do this. You got to play one course. You have to shoot 950 with one disc. Let's say the course par is 960. What one disc are you using?
Par is 960, one
Like
disc.
960 rated. Yeah. So you have to shoot maybe par at best, maybe one over at 950.
Pathfinder.
Pathfinder. You're going to be
Uh-huh.
putting and throwing with that. What about you,
Uh-huh.
Cody?
Stego.
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 So at this tournament, one of the guys' 3 discs was a Stego, and he was throwing it everywhere. It was wild to see.
Probably.
He went Animal, Stego, and Destroyer was his 3 discs.
Did he have
Insanity
bodies?
all day.
Did he have bodies hanging in his car? Because he sounds like that dude sounds unhinged. Probably.
Insanity. That's a flippy disc, right? It's like a flippy driver.
Insanity,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like the City 2, but they
It
also they
it
have like the
depends the
glow, which is
plastic.
beefy like a FD3.
The glow is almost like a Firebird. It's flat. It's the Halloween stamp. It's dead flat and is like a beat-in Firebird.
Yeah.
Okay.
One disc, I'd probably use my glow hex
Okay.
because
You do have a-
I can good distance. And I mean, look at that stamp, dude. Rare
I
air,
think
baby.
mid range probably is like the best choice for like the one disc challenge. I would agree. I'd probably go Pathfinder as well. Though I keep losing mine. I keep getting them seasoned, and I just had this glow one from the Eric Oakley run that I was loving, and then I lost it. I don't know where I left it. I didn't lose it on the fairway. I lost it somewhere, like I forgot it.
That's the worst when you lose it that way.
No, what is the worst is when you start to clean up your collection, and then you can't find a disc for shit,
Oh
and
my
you have to
gosh,
send
that
that
is
out.
so infuriating. I'm like
Yeah.
looking through all my stuff. I'm like, I know I had it. Where's it at? Where's it at? I'm looking at my
We-
cars, looking everywhere.
So you want to know the worst thing that happened? I had this tomb that was Hulk died. And there was this kind of long journey for it to come back to me. But Kyle Christopherson came from Czech to Oregon, and I had promised him that I was going to hold on to it for him. And with me cleaning up my collection, I can't find it for the life of me. So he came, we played around, and I just felt like the biggest asshole because I'm like, I swear it's somewhere. I just don't know where the fuck it is. Like I'm looking in every box, everything, and I still haven't found it.
It's a horrible feeling too because you know it's somewhere in your house or
Yeah, it has to
area.
You'll
be.
find it. You'll
Yeah.
find it soon.
I mean, it's been
And then you
months
have
at
to
this
mail
point.
it to the Czech Republic.
See, that's why I stopped trying to organize. It's more of an adventure, Then I find this like, oh, I forgot about that one.
I like how
There is-
Josh is just crazy. He's like, I just like putting disc wherever.
Yeah.
Ah!
There's no rhyme or reason to this wall.
So, Josh, we do have a good question. You want to scroll up to the Oregon
Yeah.
question?
No,
let's
nobody
see.
cares about Oregon.
Obviously, Facebook user
So,
does.
Okay,
an
Facebook
Oregon
user.
question.
What do you
Oh, here
care
we
about
go.
Oregon for?
It's really just Josh.
Yeah, it's just Josh typing. Gotcha.
If you had to pick a course in Oregon that isn't on the Pro Tour for pros to play on, what course would that be? This is easy for me because I've actually done this and recommended it to everybody that's traveled to Portland and asked me, hey, I don't want to go to Milo. I don't want to go to Pier Park. And I include Pier Park on that pro level because all the pros come in and they go to Pier Park because it's that level, of course. I recommend Buxton. Buxton Woods is an absolute beauty
Byron
gem
Buxton?
of a course.
Mhm.
Buxton is you have elevation, you have some of the beautiful trees that create Oregon. And if you catch it just right, because it's so elevated, when the fog rolls in on the hills, it's breathtaking. If you get there with snow, it's amazing. It's a private course, but everyone's welcome to go there. And they have a pro shop. You want to guys know what I bought for $15 a piece this weekend? I
What?
bought an MD1 and I bought an MD3 for $15 at this shack. That was literally this weekend. That's where that tournament was. So I'm
Heck
queued
yeah.
up already.
So when you see them for sale on the Discmania page, $37 each. Flipping.
Yeah, I
So-
mean, like my first go to would have been Buxton, but since Paige already said it, it's
it's
hard.
Oregon though. Like I'm representing Portland area. Recommend down south.
Yeah, but also like I'm also thinking of logistic wise, like Buxton would never work for a pro tour just because of
No,
parking.
it would. I don't.
Yeah.
But it's not a pro tour course. Like I don't think it's that pro tour level of course.
Well, it says isn't on the pro tour. Oh, is it
Yeah.
just a play on? Just a play on. I got you. I got you. I mean, uh, I would probably say Whistler's Bend.
Really? Over Serene?
So,
Because I
that's a
love
hard one
Whistler's.
because
I love Whistler's Bend, and I think Whistler's Bend is a gem of Oregon. Don't get me wrong, but if I was to send somebody out there and they go, can you navigate blindly for one? And then that hill, are you going to have as much fun up that hill, down that hill, up that hill, down that hill? It's great shots, scenic shots. Or are you going to have the amazing time at Serene? Because I'm taking the person like when they come here. Whistler's Bend is you're here for a week in Southern Oregon, spend 3 or 4 days camping out there, and you're gonna have the best time. Now I have one course to send you to. I don't think I'd send people to Whistler's Bend because of some of that stuff. That's me.
yeah, no, I see that point. I mean, like I feel like if you're looking for just an awesome round at disc golf, then Serene's going to be what it is down here, like hands down. I feel like Whistler's Bend also brings in the challenging aspect of playing 27 holes and that mountain. So it because I personally feel like if you're on a pro tour, you're pretty damn good at what you're doing, and so going to Whistler's Bend and saying I'm going to play all 27 with that jaunt you have to do and how many miles you have to walk and elevation change, like it's a challenge, and I think everyone should do it, including people on the pro tour.
I'm just talking like purely. I drive down south when I go to De La Viega, when I go to Santa Cruz, and I always stop in Southern Oregon for a course because it's kind of like that. Oh, I'm 4 hours into the car. Let me stretch my legs, get around in before the daylight, and then I'll make the final push. And I always go over to Tom Pierce over Whistler's Bend for one. Or there's the one in Weed, California that University of OB. It's a great course. But when I have done the Whistler's Bend stop on that trip down there, I get out and I do 18 and I skip the hill. And I think people are going to see that hill. It looks beautiful, but the moment you realize you have to hike up the hill like this twice, I just think people are going to get up there and just be absolutely miserable.
Yeah, and rereading the question, I think hands down it'd be Serene. Yeah, Camp Serene is one of those ones. It's off the beaten path, and it's the gem of this area. Like Dexter's a lot of fun, but Serene, there's just some magical vibes out there. Magical.
No, and I will
vibes.
say too, like think about the drive too, right? These are people visiting. You drive to Serene, you get in Junction City, you're getting these trees and
Yeah,
this kind of
that's
nice
true.
commute. You drive
Yeah.
to Whistler Bend, you look like Cody, and then you got the course.
Are you finally done?
Well, we're waiting for your
Goodness.
answer, Cody. What's your answer of Oregon course? That's on your list.
No one cares about Oregon. That's what I would say.
People
Okay.
tune in for our nuanced answers. That's why they're
Let's
listening,
see.
Cody.
Sounded like a John Denver song. When the fog's on the mountain and you're playing in the trees. Like, what was happening right there?
You must
All right,
be
fine.
at Buxton.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'll see
All right,
you
what about-
at
okay.
Whistler's Bend.
Where's the best course you play at? And where is it? Florida, Tennessee, where you live?
Florida is America's wang. I do not live there. Okay.
And Cody is Jammer's
live in-
wing.
I live in
Maryland.
We're the balls.
Maryland,
You're the
yeah.
wing.
Now you guys would
Short,
be like
right below us.
the shoulders, maybe. I would be like the above the loins, where the hernias
You're
happen.
below the loins. That's the whole
No,
thing.
dude, I'm above Florida. Do you not know
I'm
geography?
talking about you in this triangle. We're the two balls. You're the shriveled.
Weren't the balls be the shriveled part? What is happening here?
This is taking a side step.
So probably the best course I've played recently would be Cadorus State Park in Pennsylvania. Cadorus. You guys are talking about Whistler's Bend and Peter Pan and Shampooey, all just made up names.
You just make up sounds. Cadorus. I can't say without spitting.
You gotta. It's like very guttural. Yeah. And then
It's an old
probably
Iroquois word for disc golf.
you play at a place called Shampooey. That's what I use in the shower. I'm shampooing my hair. And that's a course you've talked about
So
many
you do in the
times.
toilet, you go shampoo.
It's like I'm hosting with children tonight. It's
Josh,
awesome.
what does that mean?
What does what mean?
Shampooing on the toilet? What does that mean?
You know, I'm not gonna get into his head.
I have
We're moving on.
played.
We're moving on.
I've,
We're moving
I've
on.
played in a couple places. Yeah.
We've lost it.
Nah, yeah, we're done.
So what are your disc golf shoes? What do you prefer to play?
Yeah, Paige, what are
in
your
and
disc golf shoes?
I go
Do you
Ben
switch
Askren
up?
and I go barefoot.
Do you switch up for different styles of courses?
Yes,
I
absolutely.
personally don't. I use the same 2 shoes. I mean, it depends. I guess
I'm glad you
what?
have 2 shoes and not just one. Josh is just out there hobbling.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well,
I got my
I've
flat foot. That's
Yeah,
the only
you
shoe I got.
can disc golf in one shoe. You only need one just
You
to
can't. It's
plant
against the
foot.
rules.
I mean, not in casual play.
No. Then you're not really playing disc golf.
Is that really a rule? You have to wear 2 shoes?
You have to wear shoes. You can't be barefoot. So Ben Askren is illegal when he plays.
I feel like
Wow.
Chandler Kramer would probably play barefoot.
Which I wonder where he's going. He's not a Lone Star anymore.
Mm?
That's where.
So going back to that shoe question.
I'm
real
a
quick,
Vivo man.
We'll get past
I
it.
went to Vivos. Before that, I was using Adidas T-Rex or Terex or whatever.
T-Rex. I
Yeah.
like T-Rex.
I like T-Rex. I like to say T-Rex because it's got that double E sound, like the T-Rex.
So I will say I'm another person like you. I went from Terex to Vivos. I really actually enjoy them, surprisingly. But to answer the question, I do switch it up. So when I go to turf, I really like balled shoes. I don't like grippy shoes. It helps me. So I'm a little bit heavier of a plant. So when I have grip, it really fucks up my ankle and my knee. So I try to get like really balled shoes so that when I plant, I can actually rotate on the turf because they're too grippy.
Paige
I
is
got
just
you.
out there in bowling shoes. Just
So you mean like ball golf courses?
Yeah, ball golf courses. Or like, if I know they have turf like Alton Baker, or sorry, the Oregon Disc Golf Course at Alton Baker.
Oh my gosh, I cannot listen to Oregon Disc Golf anymore.
No, they have turf tee pads, is all I'm saying. So when I know there's
Not
turf,
on all of them. Do they? No, they don't.
it was just a fucking example. I don't know what they've done. I haven't played it for 2 years. When they
Yeah,
was
but so
there
you
2
don't
years
talk
ago-
shit about a course you don't know about.
I'm not talking shit. I was using it as a fucking example.
What is happening tonight? It is just off the rails.
We're just done with your bullshit.
Delphi
Cody.
up north.
What did I do?
You fell asleep. So,
You fell
but
asleep too many
also
times.
I'll have 2 shoes on rotation during the season, or not the season, but the longevity of the life of those shoes. I rotate them every day so that the wear is equal. Then I have old season shoes that are bald that I rotate in there, but Vivo are kind of them for me right now, which kind of sucks because they don't offer, like, Vivo are great shoes, but they don't offer ankle support. So for the first time this year, I had to put an ankle brace on while wearing Vivos.
Really?
Yeah, it was my first time this year, and I've had bad ankles over the last 2 years. So with Vivos, I had to. So I'm gonna go look for the high top ones and see if that offers a little bit more support.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, they have they have that like collar up top, but it's not very
But
structurally
it's
sound.
like a soft brace, right? Like
yeah, it's like a sock almost. It's
Yeah.
nice, but for like comfort at
it
the
offers
same
support,
time, yeah.
but it's mostly like when you're playing like every day or multiple rounds a day. Like then all of a sudden, like I can do one round in it. The second round's a little bit harder on my feet. But yeah. So, what about
Yeah.
you, Josh?
I mainly use the Adidas T-Rexes.
That's right.
Like those are like my main ones. I tried out the what's that disc golf shoe brand? Is it Adios?
Yeah.
yeah, that
Adio?
Nate
That
Sexton
one.
did.
Yeah.
they
So
were
I got like the Nate
$200.
Sexton ones. I mean, they were a comfortable shoe. I think the tongue needed some work on them, but they just wore down faster than I got the very first runs though, like the Nate Sexton ones, and at least that model they wore down pretty quickly for me. So I went back to the Adidas because they just I don't know they just work well. The waterproof Gore-Tex it stands up to this Oregon weather, and the grip is awesome in our wooded courses.
That's where I will say, like these Vivos that I'm wearing, their waterproofing is ridiculous. Like I'm talking about, I've been playing in like a flood of rain. You're stepping in puddles, and my shoes are complete, or my socks are completely dry. They're absolutely next level for waterproofing.
Yeah, that's what sold me.
I will say though, the last thing on the shoe comment, the Adidas Terex are probably the best shoe for the bay, like for the buck, because you can go for a half off at like Adidas, get the deals. Like everyone has a hookup at Adidas, it seems like, and so you're buying $50 shoes,
These are
$75
72
shoes.
bucks.
Yeah,
72 bucks.
and you can't beat them for the price for what they are.
Yeah.
Um, but you're gonna go through if you're playing 5 to 6 times a week, like I was. I went through Terrorix about every 3 to 5 months. I would go through a pair.
Uh-huh.
So that's
If you're
kind of
playing 5 to 6 times a week, you'd go through concrete shoes, man. I mean, you're
yeah.
going to burn through anything.
And so I don't want to neglect one question up above. It says Boy from Prairie asks Paige, how windy was doubles wind discs discuss? So I'll briefly, because I don't want to talk too much about the doubles, right? I mean, I got the trophy. That's cool.
I mean, Dallas got the trophy and you were there.
No,
You got
I
one
carried
too.
Dallas first round. Ask him. That
Bullshit.
kid was not doing anything.
Yeah, I don't believe that at all. The 1,000 rated kid or Paige who can't talk. Okay.
What do you rate it, Paige?
958.
Uh-oh.
That's it?
Oh, I'm stuck. I'm at a brick wall right now for the last 6 months, and I'm very pissed. We're talking about wind. We're not talking about Paige's fucking hurdles.
I don't think you're rated that much higher than me, man. That's impressive.
What were you, 860?
I don't know. I never checked.
So
Anyway,
no,
go wind.
wind.
Let's hear it.
There was like 20-mile-per-hour wind on some of the holes, but it was really like that kind of like 5 to 10 sustained. But there's a few holes at Buxton where the wind just gets pushed. And so those holes were a little bit harder, but I think the better conversation is wind discs. What have you guys noticed about wind discs for your bag, and like going from no wind for a long period of time and then wind?
Well, I don't understand the question.
So
Like, what do we use for a disc to fight wind?
yeah, like so you put a disc in your bag. This is your wind fighter.
Uh-huh.
What constitutes it making that bag? Or I'm gonna put this on, my travel bag, and when it's windy, I'll put it in. That kind of transfer. So it's
Yeah.
like, it's always good to have something in your bag in case the wind picks up, then you have it, but that doesn't mean you're always putting wind discs in your bag. And then adversely, how did you identify those?
I mean, for like overstability is a big part for me when I'm picking out a wind disc. I need something a little bit beefier than all the other discs I have. I'm usually going for something kind of like a more overstable Firebird. I've used the Ape Animus a lot for that slot, because that one's pretty overstable for me. I mean, now that newer construct, that'd probably do win pretty well. I mean, overstability is the biggest part, which I always carry overstable discs anyways. So I always have.
Like I will say, like, because you went there and a comment went there. Everyone, when they hear wind, they automatically think headwind. I think personally, if it's underneath 20 miles per hour, headwind's the easiest to navigate.
Uh-huh.
I like headwind more than tailwind.
Oh, that's what I mean. It's easier to navigate. You know what to expect, and it's easy to counter. Tailwind, I feel like, is a lot harder to make that adjustment for, and I think it's the most neglected conversation piece in regards to tailwind of what it does.
Yeah,
or
because
crosswind.
Crosswind is fucking.
Crosswind's the worst.
It's gonna beat you down, right? Like, we didn't had to read some of those things. So like, I like that you went straight to headwind, because I think that's a lot of people when they hear wind, it's, oh, what is my overstable wind disc fighter? And that's important. I power down personally. I don't go more overstable. I go to what I know, which is FD3s. So I have my overstable FD3, and I know how to. I know what it's going to do. Because when I found out, the worst thing for me is, oh, I've never thrown this disc into a headwind. I don't know what it's going to do. Put it on hyzer, and then it's like, oh, the wind didn't flip it, and now you're out of bounds. I'd rather take a disc that I know, and trust it, because I've thrown them, right? I've thrown discs where it's like, I hope this turns. Oh, it didn't turn. So now the wind turns it, and you got an amazing flight.
Yeah.
So,
the nice thing. Oh, go ahead.
I'll go. For tailwind, almost always throw my Sphinx, the Halo Sphinx, in the tailwind.
So you actually power down in the tailwind.
Yeah.
So the thing about overstable disc is I feel like regardless of the wind, they will always be more consistent. Where if you throw a flippy disc into headwind, you might flip over and roll. Where if I throw that overstable disc, whether it's tailwind or not, headwind, tailwind, even crosswind, I know I'm always going to at least get some sort of fade. It's not going to turn over and burn on me. If I throw my Ursus or if I throw that Felon X, I'm never going to have to worry about it rolling. If it turns over and rolls on me, I shouldn't be playing there because that means I'm probably playing in a tornado if that's it. So that's why I've always liked, kind of like Josh, I usually carry some more overstable stuff just because I know what's going to happen. So um, for tailwind, I would usually throw something like flippy. I will say that, like my river or my stag. If it's headwind or crosswind, usually I get that Felon X out because that or the glow Vodum that you guys have been talking about. I started using that as almost like a slower Felon, where I feel like it's a lot more controllable over stability. It's nice and flat, so I can throw it on that forehand or backhand, and it's not going to turn over on me. Um, but
So,
yeah, I'm kind of like Josh. If it's tailwind, I usually just throw something a little slower and a little flippier.
so I'm going to talk a little bit about the wind
Mhm.
for a second as a right hand backhand player. Okay. So right hand, you pull and it's going to spin, right? It spins this way. So when you face headwind, what that kind of does is push that spin, which is tendency to make it a little bit more flippier because you're increasing the spin. I have some people with like 50-mile-per-hour arms that can hyzer flip destroyers because they put ridiculous spin on it. So headwind to me is picking up the speed or the spin on the disc, and this is flat, right? So it's picking up the spin, which is going to give it the tendency to be flippier. So overstable disc is going to fight that and come back. Now, tailwind, it's the opposite, right? So you throw that thing, and the tailwind's coming over your shoulder and kind of slowing your spin down just a little bit. But because the wind is going to carry it, you can get a little bit more push out of it, but that's why tailwind tends to act a little bit more stable. So this is a quick lesson, guys, right? Crosswind, you throw it on that same hyzer and it's going to beat this flight plate down, which is why, like, if it's a right to left crosswind, you want to go forehand because it's going to keep you straight and then dive. Left, right, same thing. And then you have all these things. And so for me, I try, it's a lot to kind of to catch up on, but I try to keep those things in mind with what they're going to do with my disc and how they're going to interact. So when you step to hole, if your miss is turning over a disc, um, especially into headwind, right, you might have a tendency to wanting to be more overstable, but it's going to fight it. And so sometimes I like to play into the wind, knowing what it's going to do and make those adjustments. So when you have those holes that need to finish right and you're going into headwind, I actually might grab my more neutral driver because I know it's going to act understable and finish right, and I can
Mhm.
trust that wind. Um, and then of course you get your nose angles, and that's all like your nose is down and you're normal. If your nose is up, that wind is going to hit your flight plate. It's going to lift. It's going to stall out. You throw nose up with the tailwind, it's going to do that same thing, and it's always going to push in the flight plate. It's always going to do. That's my quick little wind lesson. You figure out how to throw in that, please let me know. It
Bill
helps me
Nye.
it helps me a lot when I do those things, but sometimes it's that same thing with putting, right? A little bit of nose up, it's going to lift into a headwind, a little bit nose down. You can get that push actually on the backside with the tailwind, which is going to push it to the basket, and you get a little bit more
Mhm.
power into it. Um, Same thing with crosswind. You get your flat plate exposed. It's going to push you to the basket if you leave it out a little bit wider. Sorry if I'm talking a little fast, guys. I'm just trying to answer the question best I can, but
Yeah.
um, I I try to think about those ways over the discs because if this is all under 20 miles per hour. If you jump over 20 miles per hour, then tailwind is actually preferred over headwind for me because headwind is just gonna beat your most overstable disc that you're like, I've never once, even into 20 mile per hour under headwind discs, it's not gonna like do anything, and then all of a sudden it's a roller. And I've done
Yeah.
that before where it's like, oh, this is 30 miles per hour. You're like, oh, I've never done this. You throw it with hyzer, it just boom, and you're just all out of place. So that's where things completely changed for me. And the best thing that you can do is power down and play for par in those windier conditions. At least that's what I found. But yeah, that's
That's a long-winded but good explanation for sure. I liked it. And also, like, a friendly reminder to anyone commenting on the Facebook pages. We go live in a few of them. It doesn't say your name. It just says Facebook user. So if anyone who's chatting in, if you just want to put in your first name and then your comment, then
yeah.
we
We got
can
happy
kinda
holidays, Omar. Hope all is well,
yeah.
brother. See, that's a
I
name. So we
mean,
can be like, "What's up, Omar?"
Is his name Omar Hope?
haha. But yeah, YouTube, it just tells you. And YouTube had a great question too. Ha ha. Page.
No, but the
Yes.
Berg
Yes, it
X
is.
Yes.
No. No.
Yes.
The
no.
Berg.
But the
This
Berg X
Berg.
is.
No.
The
Berg
Berg is
in
not a good
general.
disc.
2-1.
do not
Berg
agree
is
with
good.
that.
No, the Berg is good. The Berg is good.
Yeah, Berg is a
Oh,
great disc.
2-1. You're wrong.
Elaborate.
Yeah, Berg is an excellent disc.
I mean, I know a lot
It
of
is.
it's
You can backhand it. You can forehand it.
touch shots. Touch shots are great for it.
So all
And I-
shots exist for a disc.
okay.
You can backhand, forehand, throw any disc out there. That doesn't necessarily mean all those discs are good.
Okay. Here we go. So
Josh
you can use
first,
a
then
putter.
me. I'm coming in hot.
You can use a putter to do similar shots as the Berg, for those fine finesse shots up to the basket. Forehand,
Fine finesse
backhand.
doesn't exist for Berg.
Well, your finesse doesn't exist. Period.
Oh yeah,
That's
it
just not a
doesn't.
Yeah, you
page
suck.
thing. Page is not finesse.
I'm not debating that.
You are a throw and
It's not.
go.
Is Page good? Does Page have touch? Is Page a finesse player? That's not the question. We all know the answer. That's why nobody asks it.
Well, let me answer
We're
the
talking
fucking
about
question.
the Berg.
Okay,
We out
Berg.
here talking about the Berg. Berg. People out there
The touch
throwing
shots.
this. We here talking about the Berg.
So
And
there's
this is why you have no voice. You scream.
backhand turnover, like flex into flat. Like that shot, the way the
This is not
Berg
a
does it.
backhand turnover angle, by the
Look,
way.
look.
This is not
Well,
backhand turnover.
it's reversed.
He's like Ricky
It's
Bobby.
a
He's
mirror.
like,
It's a mirrored image. So the backhand turnover will land so soft, and it's the flight of it. You can't
So
mimic a
soft.
Berg flight. You just can't.
Yeah,
I
you
haven't seen it
can.
yet. I haven't seen it yet. Show
have
me.
what would you throw? So, Paige, what would you throw in a Berg slot then?
Berg X.
Construct.
Oh. So a Berg X is okay.
He's an asshole.
Josh, I agree with you. The Berg is a great disc because same thing. If I did a one disc round that was probably in my local courses, which is only one long hole, I would definitely choose this. Because I can get this out 200 some feet full pump, but at the same time, it is reliable if I forehand it, I can get it to go straight, reliable fade. Same thing with backhand. I can use a touch shot. I can putt with it. It's just a great all-around disc. What do you not like about it, Paige?
So I talk purely.
What's your defense?
So I'm focusing on, let's say, sub 950 players. The people that are primarily throwing the Berg. My stance has always been the same with the Berg.
What are you rated?
Is, huh? I'm
What are you
958.
rated? Oh, I like the cutoff is 8 points higher.
No, it's
You
not.
know.
I'm not even talking about for me. Would I succeed with the Berg? Absolutely. And the reason I didn't bag it isn't because it's not good for me. It's because I need to learn touch. I need to learn because I can't always rely on a Berg. And
Why not?
sponsorships for one, that's kind of the big thing. Two, I want to learn touch. I want to be good enough to throw any disc 180 feet to there. I see. We talk about Dallas. He's a 1,000 rated player. Congratulations to him. He throws his whole bag at a basket, and from 150 in, he throws every single one of those disc up shots, and all of those have touch. That is something I think all players should do and learn. And I think the longer you depend on the Berg, the longer it's going to take you to develop that.
Okay. But to counter that, for the casual players who go out when they can play disc golf, they're like, oh, this shot, the Berg works really well to whoop my buddy's ass at this game. And so they throw the Berg. If they're going to be a tournament player and you want to learn that touch, sure. But an all-around great disc is the Berg for those touch
And that's
shots.
my perspective. When I have a platform like this, you guys talk about the casual player all day. I'm talking about the tournament grinders and the tournament players that are trying to continue to hone their skills and get better. What's going to
So
be better
no
in the
pro
long run?
uses the Berg?
I'm not saying no pro does. You got Luke Sampson, you got Casterplast. I'm not saying they shouldn't. They've gone so good that they can make that
Oakley.
choice for themselves. Oakley does as well.
So, but
I'm saying if you're trying to legitimately get better in this game, I don't think the Berg is going to help you do that. I think it's going to offer a crutch that you're going to lean on, and then you're going to ignore
Ooh.
learning your 200-foot up shots because you can throw a Berg.
but you're saying why couldn't a person with touch throw the Berg with touch? I understand what you're saying.
They can, because if you have touch, go ahead, throw the Berg. You've learned your touch. You can make that choice for yourself. I'm saying for the majority of people that don't have touch, you shouldn't be touching a Berg.
Couldn't you say that about most discs though? If you do not have certain
I
skill,
do.
why are you using that? So
Don't
why is
buy
the
a
construct a good
destroyer
disc?
unless you can throw over 400 feet.
But
Learn
yeah,
how to-
but if you gave Dallas one of these, could he do this 180
he
feet?
bags the Berg. He loves the Berg. I've had the same conversation with Dallas.
And did he say
He's
you're
also-
wrong?
No, he's also a 1,000-rated player who I just use as an example that can throw all of his discs with touch. My point is, if you can do that, throw the Berg. It's a good disc for you.
So you're only allowed to throw a Berg is if you can throw.
He's gatekeeping Bergs on us.
I think.
Oh,
I think.
Gosh.
I think
saying
he's
once
just
you
scared
open up a
of an all
skill,
Berg round.
then you can throw. Dallas throws a GUI. Is the GUI a good disc?
Yes.
No.
That's the one with the weird like texture, right?
Yeah, it's the leather on the bottom.
But that's the thing about this sport. Is it good for you? Is it good for them? It's subjective. You could say that about every
They
disc.
asked me a subjective question that I answered
And
through my
subjectively,
perspective.
you're wrong. You're
That's
wrong.
exactly what we're
Josh and I have
debating, and
subjected.
there's no right
you
or
are
wrong. We're
You know?
providing information, and it's up to our, viewers to make their own decision.
All right. So for all the users out there, if you're over 950, throw the Berg, and it's
No,
okay.
if you
you're
have
under
touch, throw the Berg.
950,
If you're
it doesn't matter.
880
We all suck.
If you're 880 and you have touch, and that's the only thing you have, and you choose to throw a Berg, throw the fucking Berg. I support that. But if you're
Do you?
880 with no touch, don't throw the fucking Berg. Learn touch.
But you could learn touch with a Berg.
I don't think
You could learn touch with a Dillo.
I think it's a crutch.
polecat.
A crutch?
And I think
I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna rip the steering wheel out of my car and I'm gonna use a wrench because I've gotten so good at driving, I don't need it anymore. It's
and that'd be
a
your
crutch.
choice.
Brakes, I don't need them. I don't need brakes. I'm just gonna downshift.
Cool.
Who needs technology and improvements in anything? I'm gonna go throw only DXT birds because all these new plastic is a crutch. I hate it.
So
that's the argument.
That's the argument. That's my argument. I think it's not for everybody.
But if a disc is if a disc is so good that it helps out the majority of players that throw it, then you should.
I don't think it helps out. That's my point. I don't think it's helping you.
I bet you
it might help you get a lower score, but that doesn't mean it's helping you.
Golf, disc golf, to get a lower score.
Yeah, lower score initially, but in the long run, it's not going to get you that.
But
that's all I'm saying.
It might, because if you're good enough, you could probably still be good.
It might. Oh, we're just going to do a bunch of mights and semantics.
It might.
Like we can get there. Well, also, like, hey, not bagging a Berg, you might get to 150.
You might. You might not.
You might. Exactly.
Yeah.
We're all in there arguing nothing.
Start smashing things.
You know what? I'm thankful.
You might be 1060.
I like that Josh is trying to be nice. I'm thankful. And Tage and I are just screaming, you're an idiot.
I'm just thankful that I have you too. You bring me great laughter.
Mother.
You bring me great.
There's a reason why the Berg is the disc golf circle jerk on Reddit. I'm just saying.
There's a reason why.
I'm not going to bring Reddit into anything. I'm not going to take anything Reddit says.
What do they say? Just put it in your Berg pocket. There you go.
Is that like a couch? Is this my new Berg pocket?
Just Bergs.
Well, that user touched on a sore spot. You got your Berg users down below.
It was Tai, and he knew what he was doing.
Tai. He's like, I'm gonna throw this grenade in the room and run. He's probably not even listening. He's like, here, watch this.
He threw his grenade.
He knows there's division. He knows there's division.
Congratulations on 960, Tai. That's huge. Good step forward for you.
He's allowed to throw a Berg. He's over 950. Good for you, Tai.
Oh, he has touch. Tai is probably one of the best long distance putters I've seen. He stands still from 70 feet, just lasers. He's also the guy that just will throw a disc into a like wire fence for practice. He's an animal.
Into a wire fence, like a chain link fence, like at a basketball or a baseball.
Yeah, exactly. Because he
Hmm.
doesn't have a net, so he'll go to the park and he'll just throw it into the fence.
It like pre-seasons a disc for you.
Yeah,
It's not bad. Oh, Tyree still is here. He's like, dang, I
it's
appreciate
not
making y'all fight.
Tyree. It's
Ty
Tyree.
Ty Rizzle. Ty. What's it? What's the next one? I'm trying to read the rest of it.
His
Rila Toss.
Relatus. That's his last name. Relatus. And then it's disc.
Oh, see, I'm missing the C. Just dis.
Listen to the D.
Also, shameless plug. Tai can teach you the ways of disc golf.
No, he
form,
can't. Don't subscribe to that back leg bullshit.
No, Tai can do it. Tai he's a good coach. He can teach you the fundamentals.
Is he still throwing RPM?
Well, speaking of Tai, you want to queue up a video for us, Josh?
Of not Tai, it's someone else.
It's of not Tai.
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of Tai,
it's about work I've done with Tai.
Is it that video you had me load up?
Yep. Yes, it is.
With the midget woman?
Okay, that's it. Oh, bro.
We got a video for you guys. Stay tuned.
I can't with you sometimes.
Do I got to take a nap again?
I think you're in timeout, bro.
He's got to do watch me talk. Ooh, can we do like a victory?
The main sports are dominated, unfortunately, by a lot of non-natives. Our natives find their places in there. Don't get me wrong, but some of these alternative sports are really important for that because they're starting to grow. I think disc golf is a good way, especially for me. There's a huge growing native community that is doing disc golf. I know native, especially with what we did with Orange Springs, they have the land, they have the space, they have the ability to build some of these courses to start to kind of make a difference. And so I know wanting to do that, I was working at the health board when we had this idea about, alternative activities, alternative movement. And we did an entire suicide prevention camp around that. It was a week-long thing. Disc golf was one of those days. We introduced some traditional games along those workshops as well. Skateboarding is another great alternative movement. Snowboarding is another one. There's all of these non-mainstream sports, but when you're disconnected on the reservation, all you see is mainstream, right? That's all that's going to be on television. When you go to the community center, everyone wants to play basketball. I know I wanted to build something like that, and so we started, I flagged a buddy because when it comes to prevention and you're doing some of these clinics, I always like to keep the idea of transferable skills and what that looks like. And so disc golf has a lot of transferable skills. When I first implemented this is where the market was going crazy. So I introduced the idea of collecting as a concept, right? You don't need to play disc golf to collect. There's a lot of collectors out there that probably don't play disc golf, but they realize like, oh, we can have, I can buy 20 discs, I can sell them and make money. And this is where I can kind of find my little niche. And there's a lot of communities that like support that, and it's still going on to this day. So I introduced like the concept of, collecting through this camp as a means of, getting engaged. We brought in Jory Reed from Jory Fly Dyes to do a dye workshop, and dyeing is starting to pick up like positive like waves outside of disc golf. You have people dyeing shoes, you have people dyeing like golf clubs, and all of these different things are finding different ways to put their imprint and their artistic skills to use and their median. And so being able to bring Jory in, he was able to showcase for disc golf, here's another thing that exists, not only where you can make money off of, but you could take some positivity from. And so we introduced that. And then finally in the afternoon, I did a disc golf workshop where we taught kids how to throw. And I worked with my three sponsors at the time, sorry, Birdie Disc Golf, Terminal Velocity, and Grow It. They stepped up in a big way to get our youth some plastic. We didn't have a huge budget, just to be able to be like, oh, here's all of the discs you can keep. So Birdie hooked it up with some putters, which are, obviously great learning instruments. You need a putter to putt with, and they're good throwing putters. Terminal Velocity came up with a mid-range for us, and then Grow It helped fund fairway drivers for them. So this is our first camp. And so we went into and we did the clinic, and we're just doing a throwing and putting clinic and getting this exposure, but looking at some of these, like I said, transferable skills, some of these positive coping skills that exist. Throwing a disc isn't for everybody, right? Neither is collecting or dying. So what did we do? We took the youth in city to Pier Park, where it's the only course that's in city technically of Portland. And you go there. First, you cross the St. John Bridge, which is absolutely beautiful. But you're in this urban setting, and then you stop, and it's still very much like a park. But after the first 2 holes, you step into the woods, and it's a different scenery. You have ever-growing cedars and firs and just, different pines and trees out there. And I remember taking the youth out there, and we stopped. And I was like, all right, I know not everybody's having the time, enjoying themselves, but let's stop here and let's look, right? What do you guys see? What do you hear? What do you feel? Look up. When's the last time you guys looked up and didn't see buildings? And you see towering trees, and you get a deeper sense of connection, not only to your community, but to nature. And you find different pockets within a very loud city to escape and get some of that silence. And this, to me, was the nature of why I wanted to do this clinic in this way, because it offers so much just to one youth. So we left that camp, and some of the youth followed up with me afterwards, and they continued playing disc golf, and they were enjoying it in their community. We did the workshop a year later, and some of the youth came back to participate in the workshop. The year later, Jory was unable to do it, so we didn't have the dying component, but Tai took off in the coaching world, and there's not a lot of credentials in our field, but he obtained a credential in our field for coaching. And him being native from one of our local tribes, Siletz, we're able to bring in representation around coaching. And like I talked about earlier, representation is absolutely important because you want to see other natives being successful within this, so that you have something to emulate, you have something to working towards, you have something that you can see you doing. And following that, I ended up becoming Oregon State champion for MA1, and so Terminal Velocity was able to do a custom run of discs for this clinic. And doing that custom run of discs had my Oregon State champion stamp on it, and we did a fundraising run, and then we did a run for 2 camps for this year, to which we gave them all out and had that little bit level of representation as well.
So, I just wanted to show our little unveiling. I gotta get on Colin for a little bit after this. That credit scene was supposed to be on the other video, and he didn't do that, so he left me high and dry at the 9 Tribes today. Damn it, Colin. I was wondering what he did, but anyways, so I just wanted to highlight, as we're coming to the top of the hour, Josh being at Grow It. Obviously, I can't thank my sponsors enough, but some of the work that we've done over the last 3 years, we actually helped to put that course in to the ground over there in Warm Springs. Just serving some of the Native American community is close to my heart, and we had a position to where we were able to bring Colin out, and he filmed some of those things and put together some of that video. So I got really excited and wanted to kind of premiere that here. I don't know if we're going to make it public accessible quite yet, but I wanted to kind of take a little bit of time on Jammers to showcase some of that, because it is close to heart. I hate hearing myself talk, so I don't know why you guys tune in on a weekly basis, but I do appreciate it. But I think every year I've talked about it briefly, like I'll do a post, I'll mention to a few people the things that I'm doing, but I play it pretty close to the chest. I try not to be overtly sharing a lot of these things. So this is my first attempt at kind of capturing some of those thoughts and getting them out here onto everybody, because it is important to me, right? The more important it is, the more worrisome I get about losing like that. But Tai came in one year and did it with me. Jory did 1 year, Colin did this year. So we're at 3 camps so far, and looking at building on some of those things, I think is something I get really excited about in 2024. And I know Grow It's been huge support in that. Terminal Velocity and Birdie Disc Golf hasn't missed them. TSA stepped up in a huge way this year, as well as surprisingly Gateway, because I'm not sponsored by Gateway, but Colin is. And so Colin let him know what he was doing, and Gateway just sent a giant box of discs to hand out, and that caught me off guard, and it was a nice, pleasant surprise. But I see some of the things that like Paul Macbeth and Ricky Wysocki are doing. I know I'm not that big, but it's something that when I was like, oh yeah, why third world countries when we have all of these tribal reservations here in the United States that we can start to tap into. So I have that. I actually have 18 baskets on the way to me to try to do some more of these like kind of traveling clinics to where it's like, oh, you don't have a course? Cool. I'll bring 6 baskets out or 18 baskets out. I'll set up a course and we'll play and we'll go to your community and we'll have some fun. So that's something that we put together that I just wanted to share. Tai reminded me with him talking shit on this channel. So I was like, this is the perfect time, right? Let's completely derail from circle jerking and just get so focused on the good.
Awesome. Like that was a cool video, man. And like with Grow It, it's easy to raise money when there's so many people who want to help out, because it's like you're saying, it's not about, there's a lot of bigger companies that can raise money for the third world countries and places that are harder to get disc golf, but there's also a lot of things right in your backyard that you can be helping out. And that's kind of like where what Grow It came in, is to help out locally and internationally, or not international, but like nationally and kind of outskirts of it. Because if more people did that, it would just make this scene so much better. Just to see, like, funding schools to have discs, funding baskets for schools. There's so much you can do just in your local area, or a few states over, several states over. Get together with people, like, Paige reached out to me talking about this clinic he wanted to do, and it's such an awesome idea, and I know that Paige would represent it very well. It sounds like an easy thing for Grow It to be like, of course, that's a great way to spend the money. We fundraise. So I mean, I'm looking forward to 2024, and the more we can do. Grow It kind of we did like a big fundraiser followed by smaller things throughout the year, more local things, and I'm hoping for 2024 for it to get ramped back up to be more of a national thing.
I will say the
And
first
even
thing that's
maybe
coming though is I'm getting a custom order of Finley hats in that are of my logo that Grow It helped design, and that's going to be 100% towards some of this effort. So I'm not going to be profiting off any of those, and that's kind of my goal, right? Like I have a full-time job, I get paid decently enough to where it's like, oh yeah, I kind of want to do these things to not profit, just to kind of push back to some of these things, because like the difference of like when I realized when I started doing this, $500, $300, $1,000, however much you want to spend, but it's a lot cheaper than you think to do these things. You just got to draw some of those connections. And I thought that was like easy because like, oh, $300 I piss away on a disc, but I also could then use that to help my community. So I started kind
yeah.
of looking at some of those things, and so it's like I know some of my collecting efforts have went to it, right? Like I'm always about how do I give back. Like I think when I ran my tournament last year, that was my goal. It wasn't to be like how much money can I make. It's, oh, how can I make this tournament experience the best for these players, irregardless of how much I might be out of pocket for it. And I was out of pocket quite a bit, more than I anticipated. And so I'm going to make that adjustment next year, obviously. But I guess I say that, and here I am, dropped $10,000 on fucking baskets. So I also do that kind of shit, right? Because I know
Yeah.
it's better for the experience. So it's like, well, here we go, Paige. You want a better experience? Be about it. Here's 18 new disc catchers for you, which, by the way, they're going to be green wrapped, so they're not released that until February. So I'm going to get one of the first green wrapped disc
Wow,
catchers.
Mr. Fancy Pants.
Yeah, so
But see, but
cool.
you invested in something that's gonna go a long way. It's gonna bring the ability to open up
See,
different
investment's the wrong
events.
word, because you get like when you invest in something, there's a potential of it giving back things. I did not invest in them. Just wasted money on baskets.
It's not a
Um,
waste, because investment's not always about money. It's
no,
not
I
just
know.
about getting like money back. It's investing in helping a kid go out and
It's
play.
investing in people.
You
It's
know,
investing in my community. It's
yeah, yeah,
investing in the
exactly. The
future.
community. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
cool. Things might get better for these kids.
What? I can't. I feel like there's
So,
just been one long final thought.
oh, it is. But we also got a tip.
What
So
we got? Oh, what we got? Oh, what? Did he come back? Oh, look at him. All right, what we got here? All right. Sorry I'm late, y'all. Hope y'all doing well. Love the podcast as always. It's better late than never, and you can always go back once this is over and rewatch the whole live. So
Yeah.
it was a
But I
pretty good
do
one.
love, and I will shout this out, that we're getting probably the most chat interaction we've had. And I really enjoy that. So if we didn't get to everybody, just realize it's because we're getting this, list of chat. Because you
Mhm.
might be on one page where you're only seeing yourself, but because we're live in like 4 or 5 different places, our chat bar kind of fills up. So if you feel like we didn't acknowledge your comment, we do apologize. We're trying to go through them, but we're also trying to give as clear of answers as we can to some of these questions, because I think they're important.
Yeah.
So, with that, guys, those are our closing thoughts. Cody, of course, has none because he's not all there in the head. So, with that,
Thank you.
like, subscribe to CH Sports. That helps us out a lot.
And just one more. I'll jump in with you, Paige, real quick. Next week will be an episode to wrap up the year.
Oh,
We're gonna wrap up the year. I'll let you talk more about that, Paige. But following that is the week of Christmas. We're gonna not be live that week, and we'll come back on the 2nd of January. But next week is the end of the year wrap up.
so
Want to talk a
next
little bit
week
about
is
that,
our
Paige?
holiday episode, guys, and we failed at doing 52 weeks of giveaways. We suck at that, but next week we're gonna do an extended episode. We're gonna go an hour and a half. We're gonna give away as many discs as we can. So make sure you guys are tuning in live. We're gonna have Colin Hayden, CH Sports himself, as a guest, and we're gonna go over some of our favorite highlights over the last year. So if you have anything you're curious about, right, this could be abstract of being like, what was your favorite green? What was your favorite, fail or whatever? Have those ready and queued up, and we'll answer them on spots. We have a little bit of a list that we're going to work down, but we're also going to be doing our best to give away cool discs. I'll probably give this away, little team stamped MD3. Um, let's have some fun with it next Tuesday. Colin's going to be here, so like, subscribe. We out. Keep jamming it in the rough. We'll see ya.
Ty, you would win.